Graduating students of the Nigerian Law School campus in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, are scheduled to write their final exams next Monday. However, preparation for those exams have been swamped by public concern that going ahead may expose the students to attack by Boko Haram terrorists who are operating around the area where the school is situated. To foreclose any such occurrences, authorities in some other educational institutions similarly located have closed shop. Parents and guardians of the would-be lawyers, as well as legal bodies like the Council for Legal Education and the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association, have all been calling on the Director General of the Abuja campus of the Nigerian Law School to allow the law students to take their bar exams in the Lagos, Enugu, Yenagoa, and Kano campuses, but he has thus far declined their request, insisting that there's nothing to worry about. To have a discussion, we're now being joined by Barth Aguegbodo, Chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Ikeja Branch. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Aguegbodo, thank you for joining us. Well, you already had the story. The law school insisting on going ahead with bar exams from Monday at the Buhari campus, which is not too far from Niger State, a state where the governor has come out now publicly twice to say that bandits are taking over certain communities, about 42 communities in Niger State, and the whole local government, Shiroro local government, more or less. And that from where the bandits are, it's just about 2 hours to Abuja. And then the other day we had this scare in Abuja about a lorry load of persons on motorcycles, getting into Abuja. Around Buhari, many schools shut down immediately. But the DG of the Nigerian Law School says, well, at the Buhari campus, the school will be able to provide security for students who will come and sit for exams. And parents say, no, can these students go and write their exams in other places that are probably safer? So this is where we are. What's your own advice as a parent and as, someone who is also in this line of business?
Thank you, Dr. Barty. It's a bit sad looking at things the way it's panning out. One is the security of the students writing exams in Buhari should be paramount. I'd listened to the Chairman Council of Legal Education, Lionel Silk, Emeka Ngige, talk about having spoken with the Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, SAN, and the guarantees given that security will be provided for students who will write the exams in Buhari. But the question that takes one's mind in this issue is security from where? Just last week we heard that there was burglary attempt in the villa. The Niger State governor had also said on 2 occasions that some communities in Niger State, which is less than 2 hours from where the law school is located, has been taken over by the Boko Haram people. I think it would be an act of insensitivity on the part of the DG to continue to insist that the exams will be taken. If we look at what has happened in the Chibok issue, there were intelligence information available to both the security agents and even the management of the school that they were open to attack, and they ignored it. I think it will only go well for not just the Nigerian Law School, but everybody in the legal community to apply pressure on the DG to see reasons. The exams must not take place in Buhari. There are other campuses where security concerns are not as serious as they are in Buhari. The argument that JAMB is located in Buhari and there are some Veritas universities in Buhari and those ones have not shut down does not hold water. What will be the mind of students writing exams when they have fears that they may be kidnapped? What is the essence of the exam? The essence of the exam itself is to assess students as to their preparedness on what they've been taught. The psychological state of a student writing an exam must be put into focus in the issue of what he puts in. I do not see how a fair assessment will be done where a student is writing exams knowing fully well that the Boko Haram or the bandits are just an hour, 2 hours away from where he is. The unsettled mind would immediately reflect in the final result, which would be a true assessment of what the exam is meant to achieve at the end of the day. So I think if they could take their lectures in their various campuses, it will only be the in thing and the necessary thing for government to look at it, that it is the safety of citizens first before the exams. It is not a die-hard thing that the exam must be written in Buhari. Initially, before the decentralization of the Nigerian Law School, people thought it was impossible for the law school to be decentralized. There was this argument that standards would be lower than all that. But eventually it was decentralized. If lectures could be taken from the various campuses, I do not see why exams cannot be taken from various campuses. So my advice to both the Council of Legal Education, the Attorney General, and the Director General of Nigerian Law School, Chiromaye saying, is that the safety and the psychic of the people writing the exam, the students, must be put into place if the exam is to be a proper assessment of how prepared they are.
Indeed.
In preparing for an exam, it doesn't take only the issue of the person reading and writing. The state of mind matters.
Absolutely.
And when there is fear that I am not safe, I don't know what will happen next, I do not think the student will be in the best position to give a proper assessment of his preparedness. That's my take.
Absolutely. I'm personally quite baffled that anybody who has even cast even the most cursory of glances at news headlines in the past few months would dismiss the fears of parents and students. But what is your advice going forward? You're clearly against the exams going on in Buhari as planned. Do you call for a postponement of the exams to be held in Buhari at a later date, or that the exam should be held in another campus? If it's another campus, specifically how should that be done? Because it could also be argued that moving the logistics of moving exam papers and vigilators and what have you, do you have any thoughts on the logistics of it all?
Yes, if the exams will have to, I do not see the reasons why the exam must go on Monday the 17th. In view of the security challenges, I think it will only be natural that the exams be adjusted by a week or two, why the logistics to move the exam papers to the various campuses will be taken. Like I said earlier, it won't be the first time Nigerian Law School is shifting exams. So I do not see the hard and fast rule to it that the exam must commence on Monday the 17th. If we have the security scare we have, my advice will be that the exam be shifted to a later date, while arrangements be put in place and logistics put in place for the exams to be taken in the various campuses.
All right. I'd like to ask, I'm quite lay in matters of law, I should say. Is there any possibility of online? Because with the emergence of COVID-19, we are doing everything online. And in other climes, examinations can be taken online. Is that a possibility? You might say the logistics for that might not be adequate in the space of 1 week. And also, can we start prepping out the local centers? Because nobody knows. Now that we're talking about it now, you never know what might happen. Nobody's safe as we speak in this country. Is that another possibility?
In this very exam, online examination at this time may not be practicable, considering the state of our telecommunication network. One, if exams, we'll take an example from the JAM conducted exams, where they do their exams online. You find out there are some exam centers where at times exams do not start till probably 8 p.m. in the night. Some in the middle of the exam, the system goes down and all that. I think arrangement will be made to future exams being written online, because that is the new order that COVID-19 has foisted on us all. But for this exam that is scheduled to start on Monday the 17th, my take will be that the exam will definitely have to be physical.
And it has to be at other local centers?
Like I said, there are other Nigerian Law School campuses. We have the Lagos campus, the Enugu campus, the Enugu campus, the Kano campus. These exams could be done at those as their local centers.
Well, Mr. Aguegbodo, I'm trying to play the devil's advocate now. Now, there are many parents who are concerned, but there are some parents who probably do not have the voice or the means to be able to launch complaints. Take, for example, there is cost also involved. If a student has to leave the Buhari campus and go and write exams, say maybe in Yola, is Yola safe? Or maybe go to the Kano campus. Is the Kano campus also safe in terms of location? Okay. We have Lagos, we have Yenagua, we have Enugu. Okay, if some students choose to go to Lagos, Yenagua, Enugu, who is going to pick up the cost for accommodation, for transportation, for feeding? It's not every student in the Nigerian Law School that is from a privileged background. In fact, most of them are looking forward to that birth certificate as the meal ticket to the future. So, I mean, how do we deal with this? I mean, we seem to be paying a price for the general insecurity in the land.
Well, my take on the issue of the logistics and who will take the cost is simple. There is no cost one place to life that can be compared with life. If the issue at stake is a man's life, and like you pointed out, the parents or the students are indigent, that they won't be able to do that. In the first place, it is the failure of government that led to the insecurity we are faced with. So government will have to deal with the logistics arising therefrom. That's my take on it. It is the duty of government to provide an enabling environment for exams to be written. If the environment as it is not conducive for the exam to be written, government will have to bear the cost. That is what governance is all about.
Right. So if all fails, all entreaties, all efforts like what you're making here this morning fail, and the law school does insist on the exams being taken on Monday in Buhari, what would your advice be to students and parents?
The parents and the students will be faced with the choice of whether to do the exam or to apply for a receipt. There are provisions within the Nigerian Law School that if there are conditions that makes the writing of the exam impossible, you can write that the exam be waived. This wouldn't be the first time. Health grounds have always been one of the conditions where one could ask that he be excused from the exams. And my own advice to parents and students is, if weighed side by side the cost and the risk involved, rather than go through the traumatic experience of having one's child kidnapped and government not being able to do anything about that and leaving the parents hanging dry, one could actually apply that the exam be shifted. It is not a die-hard thing. You might be thinking about the birth certificate that will come in a matter of months. But the question is the person who is alive that writes the bar, that practices law. So if in the course of your writing the exam, the child is kidnapped, what happens with the practice of law you're talking about? So my own take is there, if the Nigerian Law School insists on the exam going on 17th, parents still have that very privilege to decide to apply that they won't be able to write the exam because of security concerns, and they will do a receipt.
Okay, real quickly, there are many issues going on. The Jusun strike is one that has been on for quite a while. I'd like to know your take on it. But secondly, have you called the president of the Nigerian Bar Association to see how he can intervene in all of this and speak to the law school?
I didn't get the question.
Have you talked to the Nigerian Bar Association president about this and see maybe he can intervene as regards this and some of these concerns? And secondly, I'd like to know your take on the Jusun debacle currently going on.
There is a platform for the national president of the NBA and all 125 chairmen of NBA branches, where we interact and our positions are made known as regards how we feel about that. We are all behind the Jusun strike because at the end of the day, it will be victory for all. Where the judiciary do not have their financial autonomy, justice delivery suffers on its own. And the present and current national president of NBA is someone who is passionate.
Mr. Aguegbodo, we'll quickly go on a break and we'll collect your thoughts when we come back. We'll come back for your thoughts.
Very well.
Right back here. All right, welcome back. We still have Barth Aguegbodo, chairman of Nigerian Bar Association Ikeja Branch, still on the program. We're talking about, the coming exams. Parents complaining about security as regards the coming exams of the Nigerian Law School at the Buhari campus. But real quickly, I did ask you earlier on, I talked about the Jusun strike and you were commenting on that before we went on the break. Well, what's your take on that?
Like I said earlier before the break, that the Jusun strike was one that was long overdue. And we're all happy that the national president of the NBA, the one we refer to as the working president, Olumide Akpata, has been a very proactive president. And it is a good thing that he took the issue up in conjunction with JUSEN. Without financial autonomy, the justice delivery system will still suffer a lot of things. It is true that there are pains and there are gains in the strike. Our take on it is that the strike is almost coming to an end, because feelers we got from the meeting of the day before yesterday is that there's been a template already on ground and they're considering that. And if at the end of the day the commitment they needed to get from the federal government is gotten, then the strike will have been one that will serve its purpose. The benefit it will actually do the judicial system is that there will be better infrastructure in our courts. Aside that, there will be dispensation of justice without fear or favor, without tying the judiciary to the executive, because we all know that he who pays the piper dictates the tune. And where it is the executive that runs projects for judiciary, of course, they will always down to the whims and caprices of the executive. So I think the judicial autonomy strike called by JUSEN and the involvement of the NBA has given it a bite that at the end of the day, it will be a battle fought and well deserved.
Well, let's go back, Mr. Aguegbodo, to this issue of the Nigerian Law School, so that the interview doesn't go this way, go that way.
Okay.
Now, let's see how we can deepen that further. Somebody just sent a text now from Buhari. He says, during the COVID-19 lockdown, there were security checkpoints at Buhari. Now that we even need it more, there is no physical presence of security. We feel exposed. Okay, if that is the security situation in Buhari, and we're talking about bar exams on Monday and security of students, and nobody has at this moment nobody has done anything. Is it possible for the bar exams, if the DG Nigerian Law School says it cannot be moved to another campus, is it possible to write that exam somewhere in Abuja that is safe? Say, for example, the International Conference Center. The students go there, they write their papers right inside the Abuja there. Or is there a law that says bar exams can only be written inside the law school premises in Buhari?
To the best of my knowledge, there is no law stating that the bar exams must be written in the law school campus. Like I pointed out earlier, when there are challenges of this nature, we expect our leaders to be proactive in their actions. One, if there will be so much crisis from logistics in moving the exam from Monday to probably to another date, it is also a good suggestion that the exam itself be shifted to an area like the ICC, which is in the center of town, leaving these students to write the exam in Buhari. Anybody who has visited Buhari in recent times will know that where there are no police checkpoints there, and looking at the way the insurgents and the bandits have operated, where they come in lac trunks and there will be no security check on them, will be exposing the students. So I see no reason why that same exam could not still be written in a place like ICC. Assuming we're not considering even that there is even a law that says that the man is not enslaved to the law. There are times we have necessities, and using the doctrines of necessities, you can extend that ambit of the law. So I do not find a justification why the exam itself must be written at the law school in the midst of this security crisis.
Well, on that note, we would like to thank you very much for joining us and for your insights, and we hope that the authorities at the Nigerian Law School will be following the concerns that have been expressed by parents and other stakeholders, and will try to respect other people's opinion. We thank you very much indeed. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Welcome.